Welcome to an exciting summer edition of Business Statistics. This is what is it, BGEN 253 Business Stats. So I hope you're all ready for a nice educational summertime experience. You ought to be just excited. I warn you somewhat that this program, when I use BB Express, it tends to slow my computer down sometimes, and so I've adjusted the settings, and hopefully that'll help some. But sometimes there's pauses in there, and I run out of jokes that I can tell in this type of an environment really quickly. Anyhow, business stats. So let's take a look at what we're going to be doing. Everything's set up on D2L. I believe I've gone through today. Don't pay any attention to start dates. I don't think you guys can normally see those, but your page will look much like this, maybe somewhat different because you'll have a student version versus mine. You'll see below the picture, or the little comic thing that I had to put in there, you'll see then come down to the syllabus. So we can sure take a look at the syllabus simply by clicking on it. That should open it up. Maybe we have to double click. There we go. You guys always have concerns about what's in the syllabus, so let's see if we can talk about that and let you know what the expectations are for the class and kind of how it's going to proceed and whatnot. So I will, in general, probably the first part of each week, I'll try to come in and process video. The videos are going to be almost entirely on your assignments. Your quizzes, and there's quizzes for each chapter, on the other hand, will be based on the chapter itself, and I don't plan to help you out a lot there. They're open book, and in fact, not only are they open book, I give you the quizzes ahead of time. Okay, you'll see that I have all of those lined out ahead of time, so you can actually open up a Word version of the quiz, open up your book, go find the answers, or in some cases you may have to work the answers, okay, and then, and only then, write your answers down on your scratch piece of paper, and then and only then go ahead and take the quiz online, okay, that I have. Kind of general information, of course, BGEN 253 stats. Textbook is required, 16th edition. It's also required that you have access to Excel. Okay, if you don't have Excel, get a hold of the bookstore. You can purchase like a full version of Windows Office, or not a better deal hardly in the world. I think it's $20. You get the whole version of Windows Office, which includes Word, Excel, etc., etc. Okay, so if you don't have Excel, I am requiring that you get that. We're going to use the heck out of it. I suppose you could go through and do all of this stuff by hand if you wanted, but I just don't recommend it. Okay, I'm just kind of scrolling through stuff that's just general stuff that you guys can certainly read. Due dates for quizzes, homework, discussions are all posted, right? Has to be, your work has to be completed by those due dates and times. Please, if there is something amiss, or something that's gone wrong and you need some kind of an extension or something, please get a hold of me beforehand, not after the fact. So please get a hold of me beforehand. Late projects, lose some grades, okay? I should say up to, okay? Generally speaking, your grade is going to be dependent on your quizzes and assignments. Okay, so it's each chapter. First time I taught this, I thought about doing tests, but for the life of me, this is just not information that you need to memorize, okay, in order to be able to process it at a moment's notice, unless of course you're going to go on to have a career in statistics. Yeah, it's information that's good, it's valuable, it's good to know, it's great to know that it can be done. I actually have fun with it yet today. I'll sit and look at a stream of data and wonder if there's a correlation. Geez, not only do I know what correlation means, I can go in to Excel and I can calculate a correlation and see if there is one. And so there is some useful stuff in here that you may use for life, but fortunately it's all stuff too that you can come back to. You can come back to the text, come back to other sources, and figure out how to do it. So this is really just a nice introduction to it, and show you different things about statistics and how useful it can be. So there's your syllabus. With the grades being dependent on assignments and quizzes, don't be neglectful of either of those, right? Get after it, do your quizzes. Again, they are open book. The quizzes are available on D2L. Okay, I have them in a Word format right on D2L, and I'll show you that here just shortly. Here we go. Quiz 1, or quiz quiz 1 up here. Chapter quiz 1, chapter quiz 2, chapter quiz 3. Feel free to open those up, feel free to print them, feel free to write your answers on the quizzes. Then and only then actually go, and these are the links for the quizzes up here, right? Chapter 1, it would take us to, your guys' is going to look different. This will take me, I think, to the edit version, but if you click on chapter 1, it should take you to the chapter 1 quiz. Duh. Maybe. If your computer runs faster than mine anyhow, it will take you to the chapter 1 quiz. Okay. But when you get to that point, when it's online, you should have all your answers already completed and everything, because you've downloaded the Word version and looked in the book and figured those things out. So, yeah. So it takes you to the chapter 1 quiz, which quite a few questions, 27 questions. So yeah, it's the quizzes are fairly lengthy, so devote some time to them. I think you'll find that for the first few chapters here, it's some review of things that perhaps you've done in the past. Okay. So for the first few chapters it is. After that, we're going to get into some pretty gnarly stuff. It's some math. Okay. It's kind of why I front loaded it, because the first 2 weeks here you're gonna whip through 6 chapters. But again, these are they're the easiest 6 chapters. Chapter 1, chapter 2 are just kind of review of some things that you should have had. You're going to talk about types of information and what we call this types of information. You're gonna talk about mean, mode, and median, and some things like that, and averages and things like that should be a lot of review from prior classes that you've had, math, or even basic stats and stuff that you might have had in high school. Okay, so we kind of front end load it, and that way towards the back end we can take a little bit more time and go through those things. Again, I won't go through the quizzes. What I'm going to do is go through the assignments. It's not to say that the videos that I bring out each week wouldn't help you with the quizzes. Some of the information that I would do would certainly help. And so prior to completing the quizzes, or if you have questions or whatnot, you may go through and answer a lot of the questions on the quiz, and you may be stuck on 1 or 2, and listening to that week's video may help you with those 1 or 2 questions that you might have for each week. So you may want to wait to actually complete the quiz after you've watched the video that I'll be doing. Again, we'll be using Excel a lot. Okay. I am trying to scroll down here. I'm sorry, and it's not letting me. I kind of wanted to get down to, I have, let's take a look at the first assignment. I was going to say that, and I do, and you'll see it. Oops, I already got the first assignment. I've already got up in Word, so just take a look at it. It's relatively short. They're going to get longer. Some chapters will be fairly lengthy. Some chapters will not. One thing to note about the assignments, it's kind of an oddball thing, but oftentimes the first several exercises. They are. They are within the chapter itself. So when I first got this textbook, and one of my first students did the same thing. We were looking for exercise number 1. And so you kind of went to the back of chapter 1 looking for it, but if you go to the back of chapter 1 in the kind of light blue pages, it starts with chapter exercise number 5. What the heck happened to 1 through 4? Well, those are back within the chapter itself, so you got to kind of go back. In that case, they're on the first exercise starts on page 11, and 1 through 4 go from page 11 through page 12, right? So if you're looking for 2 and 4, that's what you have to do, is go back and take a look at in the chapter itself. Okay, so that's kind of important to know. You'll 2, 4, 8, and 10. It also says also complete data set exercise number 22. And you'll note that there are some data set exercises. There's also some others. Oops, I'm going to cancel there because I already got that. Okay, and what you got to do is come here to the textbook website. And I've given you a link for it, so you should be able to click on that, and it'll open it up in a separate page here. Hopefully it will. And this should be available for everybody, right? And you'll get a deal that looks kind of like this. By the way, your textbook, I'll give you a little bigger picture of it. Your textbook is the statistics. Gotta see the statistical techniques in business and economics. There's what it looks like, the 16th edition. Hopefully that's what your cover looks like. Okay. So if you go to the website, then you'd come over here. If you had a code, you could get into the instructor edition. That would probably be helpful, but let's not do that, because while it might be helpful for finding answers, it wouldn't be good for learning. So yeah, just come here where it says the student edition, and you'll see up here there's data sets, data files, chapter 20, some appendices, a few other things. I don't know, there may be some Excel help here. I guess I haven't gone through the tutorials there, so that might be kind of interesting. But for the first question there, it was on data sets, and so if you click on that, okay, sure, and there's just 5 of them, right? Applewood, banking, baseball. The Buena School District is the one that's that it refers to, and that's in an Excel format. So again, why you kind of need Excel. You just open that up. In this case, later as we go through the book, you're going to take some of these data sets and you'll actually massage and use the data. In this case, it's just asking you to look at the data and label it. And so this is how you get to it, and it's important to note because you'll be coming back to these data sets and whatnot fairly often. Okay. So I'm going to close that. It's also important to note that on the assignments, you'll find that when I've given you an assignment, it's going to be an even number, because all of the odd numbered exercises have answers in the back of the book. Give me a second and I'll find the correct page. It's the blue pages in the back, and it looks like it starts on page 756. And the ones that kind of have blue tab on the pages. So the odd numbers are on there, and primarily what I'm going to do is work through those odd numbers. Sure, the answers are back there, but I want to show you how it's done so that you guys can then do them for the even numbered problems. So, generally speaking, there'll be an odd numbered problem. It's very similar to the even numbered problems that I've assigned you, and so we'll just work one of those out, and if you have problems, you can work the odd numbered ones and then go back and take a look at the even numbered ones. So alright, so we've got the chapter quizzes, the assignments. Yeah, you're going to be a little busy. Remember, we're condensing one semester's worth of information here into 8 weeks, so it'll keep you hopping a little bit. We would normally spend 3 hours a week in class. I'd expect about 3 hours a week of homework, and so where we're condensing this, that gives us about 6 hours a week. Equivalent in class. My videos are not going to be 6 hours, so don't start yelling and screaming yet. But it'd give you about 6 hours in class and then about 6 hours of homework. Your homework between the quizzes and stuff could take that. Okay, you'll in all likelihood fail the class if you wait until Sunday evening, because that's when the due dates are. So if you wait until Sunday evening to do all your stuff, and it's due at 9, 10, 11, whatever time it's due, you will in all likelihood run out of time very, very quickly. My videos that are going to help you through some of the problems and whatnot are going to be lengthier than that. So, plan on spending your 6 hours between the quizzes and homework. I think some weeks you may get by a little less than that. Some weeks might take a little bit more than that. Okay, so if you start earlier in the week, we've got these first couple chapters, we've got 3 chapters. Or first couple weeks we've got 3 chapters each. Plan to spend an hour then and work on chapter 1. You'll get chapter 1 done inside of an hour, probably without too many problems, right? And if you break it up like that, I think it'll be a little bit easier. And then as we go along, we'll get down to 2 chapters per week. I don't think we get quite all the way through the book. I think we get through chapter 18, if I'm not mistaken. It's a lot of information, okay? A lot of hard work. You guys will be busting your butts a little bit, but again, I think I give you pretty good examples of how to work through the problems. Had pretty good success both last summer and then during the fall session when I taught it face-to-face, just working through the examples and whatnot. I don't think that I've set up the drop boxes yet, so if you're way ahead of schedule and you're trying to put something in the first drop box, it's probably not open yet, so I'll try to get that done today. I don't think I have much more in the introduction. Pay attention to the videos again as we go along. If you have questions, feel free to email me. I will check my emails probably every day. I often, unless I'm out of town, I often check them even on the weekend. Phone messages I don't check so often, so if you need a phone conference, and I'm more than happy to do that if we need to work through a problem or something, just send me an email and we'll set up a time and make that happen. So with that, I'm going to stop the intro. I'll probably yet today send out videos going over maybe chapter 1, 2, and 3. So thanks. I look forward to the summer session and wish you all well, as I can hopefully shut my there we go.